Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Harry Man Show. Today is episode 65. Today we have guest Ethan York. He's formerly of Cold and Flaw, and he's in a current project he's working on. He's going to tell us a little bit about. But this little short story, Cold 13 Ways to Die on Stage, I believe it was called, or Bleed on Stage, was a big album in my teenage years, and I still go back and listen to that quite a bit. But we get to talk with Ethan about his influence with it too. And how you doing, Ethan?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. It's a real pleasure to talk to you and kind of hear your story.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I know you played with Cold at a very young age, but I kind of want to go back into how it started for you. What got you into drums, and what was the spark there for you?
Right. I picked up drums at 10 years old.
Nice.
It was Christmas. My dad got me a drum set for Christmas,
Hmm.
and there's a reason for it. Drums was not the first instrument that I ever tried. At a young age, I tried a lot of different stuff. I did guitar lessons for a little while, piano. Um, Tried a bunch of different stuff, and I just never stuck with anything for too long
Hmm.
until drums came along. And something about the drums just for me was I was like, oh yeah, I like this. This is good.
Yeah, it works.
It works for me. It works. Yeah, the reason why he decided to get a drum set, and I think my mom was still against it. She's like, "Are you an idiot?" kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's a commitment.
Yeah, that's quite a commitment. I had a lot of problems with my hands at a young age.
Hmm.
I had there was a medical term for it that is going to slip my mind, but basically, I didn't have real good function in my hands. It was hard for me to even hold a pencil or anything like that. I couldn't write very well, and my touch was very sensitive.
Oh wow.
Touching any sensitive, like something as smooth as a apple, could kind of feel like sandpaper almost. Like it was. My hands were very sensitive,
Oh weird.
so that's why my dad thought try to get him drums. I'll get him coordination. I'll try to build hand strength.
Hmm.
And so yeah, he just went with it. He just got like a cheap drum set locally, a little no name kit from, I think it was called Rhythm Art,
Okay.
just to try it. And yeah, weird thing is once I picked it up and he got me lessons, it wasn't long before I got hand strength, and it just was something that kind of worked. So that was the idea behind it, was not to even start a career, it's just try to build hand strength and coordination.
Oh wow.
Um, but here I am 15 years later, I'm still drumming and doing it professionally. So it ended up becoming a long term thing, a career, and very thankful for that.
Now, was your dad or your parents musicians at all either?
Yes, yes. My dad is a piano and keyboard player.
Oh.
And yeah, that's about it. Yeah,
So,
I was trying to think if anyone else. Like, yeah, no, I guess that was it. But yeah, my dad has been playing piano basically his whole life.
now were you kind of pushed into formal lessons, or you kind of go through the school route with it?
No, I actually got lessons. Like I found a teacher who was teaching at store Meyer Music that was out in my area,
Hmm.
and so I would go there like once a week, kind of thing.
So I know obviously you're a rock drummer, but was that kind of a big influence you right away, or were you kind of all over the place as most teenagers are?
No, I mean, it, I'm influenced by all genres. I really am. I know I'm mostly known as being in the rock and sort of metal genre, but gosh, some of my favorite styles of drumming is more jazzy or even pop. Like,
Yeah, I could
um,
definitely hear that in your playing. I didn't mean you that square you in a box there, but yeah, obviously with your
yeah,
career path, you're going down the rock terms.
hmm yeah. No, I just I mean, I think my favorite type of music. Again, I like. There's not much as far as music that I don't like, at least somewhat. But growing up, I always listened to more of the rock stuff, so it was natural for me to get into bands uh, under that genre. But my influences pull from, as far as style to my drumming, it comes from all over the place.
Nice. And I were you kind of jumping into rock bands right away, like kind of a garage style, or were you kind of just waiting and kind of crafting your style at first?
No, so first album I ever did, like an actual professional studio album, I think I released when I was 13 or 14.
Oh wow,
But
wow,
like
that's
I recorded
pretty
most of
badass, man.
it. Yeah, I recorded most of it at like 12 or something like that at
Mm-hmm.
a very young age. And it was how it started is my dad, who I was saying before, piano player, he wanted to try to get his old band back together just to do a couple songs or something just for the fun of it and
Mm-hmm.
do a professional recording, live out the high school glory days kind of thing. But I recall his drummer ended up backing out and he already had like time booked. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? So he didn't want to cancel. He's like, hey, why don't you come lay down some tracks or something? I was like, yeah. And one thing turned to another, and I ended up doing like a whole prog rock album with my dad. That was actually, it was self funded, but it was like, good studio, good quality, and it was at the time something I was very proud of.
Yeah, that's a big genre to just jump into with the studio. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So my dad, I should say, is heavily influenced by prog rock. He was a big fan of like Yes and Rick Wakeman solo stuff,
Oh,
and
nice.
so like going. So I was obviously also heavily influenced by progressive rock. I mean, a lot of my favorite bands, uh, more modern ones, but are in the prog rock genre, and so from an early age, I kind of jumped into the most complicated form of music that you can really
Yeah,
get into.
yeah,
And I think it's helped me a lot, though. I mean, it helped me stand out because, I was doing first album I ever did, we were doing like 10-minute long epic songs kind of thing.
yeah.
So
I feel like every drummer has to go through their progressive phase to kind of like to be worth their salt. You know what I mean? Later on, because you
it
have to
does.
like go through
Yeah.
the big hit phase. You have to
Hmm.
the Neil Peart phase, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you really do. And you know what? Those are always the guys that stand out, though, too. If you know drummers, I mean, you can list 10 famous drummers, and half of them are known for being prog rock drummers. I mean, those are just the guys that stand out.
yeah. And I
So,
mean, there's just guys you have to go through that phase. Is what I'm trying to say. Like if you don't, you're just missing out on the whole, I guess, self
y-
education of it. You know.
yeah, it's very true. Very, very true.
So going forward, I know you had a YouTube channel and you're doing covers as a young age. Was that what's kind of got you into the industry, or were you just kind of just doing that for fun at that point?
I was doing that for fun at a point. I think I was doing covers already after I had met Cold guys. I wasn't in the band yet, but
Okay,
that
so
was some
I got my
that.
timelines messed up there.
Oh, no, no, no! That was like shortly after that. I wasn't really, I mean, particularly well known or anything yet, but that was something I was heavily influenced by all the YouTube drummers,
Yeah,
like Cobus and Luke Holland and Maytel, and it just looked like something that's fun. It's nothing I thought would really take off, or I thought would be like my main source of music, but it was something I was just like in my spare time. I just wanted to do quick little basement covers
yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. And this some days I wish I had more time to keep doing it.
Hmm.
So
So you said you started playing with Cold at a young age. What's kind of, you said 17? Is that correct?
17 was the first time I played with them. I hadn't joined them, but I played live with them for a live DVD recording. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And how did that gig come about for you?
So yeah, they were doing like it was either Indiegogo or a GoFundMe campaign because they wanted to do a crowd-funded live uh, album Blu-ray,
Hmm.
and yeah, they're giving out certain amount of money and chances to win stuff. And one of the things that was possible to win was a chance to play with them live on stage,
Oh shit!
any song of your choice.
Damn.
Yeah,
So what song was it?
lucky. Yeah. Well, yeah, lucky me. I'm the one who got it right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was just got wicked.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I felt like I was the obvious choice being a drummer.
Yeah, that's a cool
Love that
hi-hat
song.
groove. Like,
Oh yeah, it starts with drums, and we did. Uh, I if you don't have the, for anyone who doesn't actually have the DVD or the album, I'm pretty sure the whole thing's on their live on their YouTube page at this point, so it's easy to find.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it just seemed like an obvious choice. Like I'm the drummer, it's got to be Just Got Wicked.
Nice, I love
and it's
that
just
song.
such a great song. Yeah, it's just such a great song too. It's catchy. So
that did that just start to build a relationship with the band at that point, and it kind of just started rolling.
Yeah, that's how the ball got rolling. As I flew out to Jacksonville, Florida, where they were rehearsing about a week ahead of time. That's the first time I met anyone in person.
Mm-hmm.
We did one rehearsal of the song, just one, like a week ahead, and they're like, "Yep, you're good, you got it," kind of thing. Which was like, no, on one hand it was amazing, on the other hand it's like, wow, no pressure, right? It's like that's all it took.
Yeah.
Well, I should say 1.5. We did one in the studio, and then we did ran through half of the song a night or two before at the actual venue, but there was some audio problems happening with it that they were trying to fix. Sound guys, like the backing tracks or something was messing up or coming in and out. It was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we only made about halfway through the song, and they're like, we're going to fix that, and we'll come back around to that. And then we just never got back around to it. And so come show night, luckily everything just came together beautifully. So,
wow.
Yeah, actually, so that was the start of that relationship. In fact, after that show with Scooter, again, I'm 17. This is 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he pulled me backstage, pulled me into a room, just me and him, and said, Sam is, Sam, their original drummer, now current drummer again.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about going separate ways, and he says, basically, one day it's like, I want you to be the drummer of Cold. I was like, you have no idea how much less than just feeling good because you just finished this really great show, or how much he's just but so I try to take it with a grain of.
That must have helped your ego as a teenager too, as well.
Oh, I thought I was hot shit, dude. I thought I was the guy.
Yeah.
You imagine going back to high school after that?
Well, it's like if anyone's going to believe you at that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm walking the hallways like I'm better than all of you. No, but yeah, I try to take it with a grain of salt because you don't know how much he's just caught up in his emotions. But no, he meant it, and eventually, a couple years later, I did join Cold. We kept a relationship. In fact, not even just a couple months later, we met up in L.A. to meet with some producers because we wanted to start up a separate project at the time. And so we started. So for a long time there, we were writing songs, we were recording stuff, and just working together. But eventually Cold signed with Napalm, and so we had to put that on hold because under contract he couldn't put out any other music.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept a relationship with the guys, and I worked with them for many years before I actually became an official member of the band.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that all came about.
What was your tenor of were you touring with the band at any point, or how long did you kind of stay on the road with them?
I most of my time with the band was all studio.
Okay. That's even better sometimes.
Yeah. So by the time they asked me to actually join as a new member, they were already a couple years into working on this new album.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the other 2 years with them doing, some of the tracks. A lot of the album was already recorded, but I did a little bit of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming in and being there for a while. So the majority of my time with Cold was studio stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about, when you kind of knew you're in the band, did you kind of go through the whole catalog and kind of just learn it all front to back while you were at it?
Basically, yeah. So they gave me a list of songs to learn, and it was it was a long list. But by that time, I already knew basically almost everything.
Yeah.
Because they kind of gave me the list a little late. I'm not gonna lie. It was like a few months before tour and stuff was coming up, and they're like, "Oh, we should probably give a list of songs that we should do."
Well, their songs
but
are
at that point,
the thing about the band Cold, their songs are so good that it's easy to learn them. You know what I mean? But that's
yeah, they are. It's
and I
catchy but not hard.
no,
You know what
I
I
mean it as a compliment. When you play good music, it's so much easier to sit down and just go through it. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. So by the time they already gave me a list, I already knew the majority of the. I mean, I knew every song, but I knew how to also play almost every song because as I'm a very dedicated person, I like to get things right. I'll run through. I was the kind of guy who would practice 8 hours a day behind the kit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you treat it like a real job.
Yeah.
Because it is a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah. By that time, before 6 album came out, there was 5 albums. I knew damn near almost every song out of 5 albums.
Now,
just because I didn't want to leave anything to chance.
So as we're talking about prep, and I know you mentioned you had some hand problems. So is there any kind of tactics or precautions you would take to kind of brace yourself for 8 hours of practice a day?
Yeah, it's important to always do some form of warm up, whether it's practicing at home or before a show. You got to warm up. And so many people get this wrong when you say warm up. They think that means go do a 3-minute drum solo.
No.
No. No.
That's how you tighten everything
from.
up first, and it becomes like a lock,
Yeah, exactly. That's your wrists are going to turn to rocks, and you're not going to be able to bend them and stuff. It's just basic rudiments. If you don't have a drum pad, go get a drum pad. Again, this goes for everything. You do it before every show. You do it before. Anytime you sit behind the kit, you got to do 5-10 minutes of some sort of warm up. And again, it's just you can pick and choose any basic rudiments. Just going back and forth doing singles, doubles on a pad for 10 minutes, so it'll loosen you up. And before a show, also make sure you stretch. I mean, because it's a physical thing. It's your whole body. You do stretches. Just make sure you are loose. You treat it the same way you an athlete would.
Hydrated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna lock up. Especially, as I said, someone like me. If you treat it like me, going in for 8 hours a day, man, you're gonna be pretty worn out at the end of each day. So you want to go in making sure your body is as prepared as possible for it.
Your body has to, I would say your body struggles about 40% of nerves once you're up there too. So, there's a whole other, adrenaline gland that opens up and, your body's got to force that to work. And I think a lot of people just think like, you just go in after a couple of beers and that's it. But no, your body has to be conditioned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and that's the thing is I see so many drummers get cocky and they're just like, yeah, I'm good. And just walk up on there. Like, no, you're not, dude.
No, 20 minutes in, you're like gasping for air.
Yeah, exactly. You're struggling. And so, and then obviously if you're struggling, you're going to make mistakes and your energy is going to go down. You're going to go in looking good for the first song or two. You're going to be hitting hard. You're going to be looking good. And then the rest of the show, you're going to be looking like you're gasping for air and
you just weathered.
Yeah, exactly. It's all downhill.
Yeah. So, and kind of a drum dork question. I know you mentioned you do rudiments, but is there any kind of books or like anything you kind of would recommend for a warm up, or you just kind of go straight into the 43 rudiments?
There's plenty of books that you can choose. I would say the 3 best and that I've gone through just even this last year. I've been working with the legendary Dom Famularo.
Oh, nice.
And he gave me a few books to work out of. And so he gave me the 3 books I've been working out of is Stick Control by George Lawrence Stone. That's the huge one. Progressive Steps to Syncopation for the Modern Drummer by Ted Reed, which is actually a book that I've been working out of my whole life. When I first picked up drums, that was the first book I ever worked out of, and to this day, that's important for drummers to use.
Yeah, it is.
And then finally, It's Your Move, Motions and Emotions by Dom.
Yeah, Dom is a badass, and I kind of love how he teaches the mindset of it too. You know, he
does.
Yeah, he like kind of shows you if you portray, a good attitude. You know, I honestly haven't taken lessons with him, but what I've seen is he does a lot of mindset coaching as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He treats it from every angle possible. I mean, he basically teaches that it's a relationship with the kid.
Yeah,
it really is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's you and the kid. It's the relationship between you and the kid. So you got to approach it every way possible. It's mindset, physical. He's takes it on in just the most beautiful way. I mean, and there's a reason why he's so famous and
there's a reason why he's
well
so fun
known
to watch too. You know, so when you watch him,
yeah, you watch the guy and you see him smiling. You can tell he's just having the time of his life every time he's behind the kid.
Yeah, he's not punching the clock and leaving. You know.
Yeah, no, it inspires you when you watch him for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And not to get off topic, but when I see bands, I can easily spot a drummer when you could tell he's counting down minutes. You know what I mean? It's so easy. It's almost like you can feel it in the air.
Yeah, and that's the worst to watch.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
It almost puts me in a bad mood when I'm watching a guy and he's just like looks like he could not care less.
Yeah, just peeking out the bar over there trying to see.
Yeah.
But sorry,
exactly.
I'd say just a side note. That's just me being, I guess what's the word for it? Just being picky about it. But yeah, speaking of Dom, he's just a great guy. And one day I would love to take lessons with him, but I'm sure he's probably pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think he gets up like as early as possible and just does like 8 hours of lessons a day, and then he does interviews for the companies he's endorsed with, and the guy's never not busy, but he finds a way to make time, and he loves it, and he's there's no better person to work with. There really isn't.
Yeah. So speaking of gear, are you still currently playing the DW set?
I am playing the DW set. Yeah, man, that's been my pride and joy for 5 or 6 years now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And were you kind of playing the two bass drums right away, or are you playing the single kick at this point?
I've gone back and forth. Sometimes it has to do with touring situations. I've had drum techs before, and I've had situations where it's all me, and so sometimes it kind of comes down to how much work do I want to put into it myself
and space.
Say sometimes, and if you had a limited amount of time to set up a kit on your own, kind of thing like that, you better believe I'd bring the whole kit every single time. But sometimes it's just not practical if you don't have a helping hand. And the funny thing is, I even though for many years I've had the double bass, I only did one tour where I actually was doing a pedal with each bass. But I don't think it's any real secret to any professional drummer or drum tech that it is so hard to keep bass drums in tune with each other.
Oh yeah, it is.
They fall out of tune immediately. So after the one tour, even though I kept touring and kept having both bass drums, I just went to double pedals because it looks appealing, but at least you get from the outside, and then you get to keep a consistent bass tone.
Yeah.
Also.
So in your cymbal choice, are you still playing Zildjian as well?
No, I have been with TRX for a couple years now, actually.
Oh, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah, they've been a great company to work with. They're just great quality cymbals. So yeah, I think I've been endorsed with them 2 to 3 years now.
Nice.
I want to say.
Now, are you more of the traditional Brilliant type? Did you like bigger cymbals or smaller crashes there?
I mean, different cymbals work for different situations, but I've always been sort of a bigger cymbal guy. I mean, I like the bigger, a little bit darker tones. I like stuff that can, cut through sound when it needs to, but I don't like it be piercing either. So, I'm definitely a little bit of a bigger cymbal guy, and I like medium to slightly darker tones for the most part. There's some light cymbals out there that work great for certain situations.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you integrating electronics into any of the Cold stuff, or was it just kind of all just acoustic drums?
Um, so I didn't trigger anything.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, like pads or samples or.
Pads, yeah. No, no. I kept it all um, traditional with my time with Cold.
Oh, badass! I love
Um,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't. I mean, Cold. I mean, we had backing tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
everyone.
but it's not like I personally would trigger any of them while playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Those were all just preset.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to. You mentioned you're taking a little bit of a break now, but I kind of want to talk about the current project you're putting together right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah, yep. So, uh, yeah, for the last year, I've been putting together a little bit of a project that I mentioned. Actually, I mentioned before I actually joined Cold that I was writing music with the guys for a long time. Yeah, actually, I decided to reinvent that project because I've been sitting on a lot of songs that were recorded and just to because of contracts with labels and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that unfortunately were not able to see the light of day. But now that I'm no longer bound by any of that, I have a lot of songs that Scooter and I had wrote and recorded together, and I'm going back and re-recording a lot of that with different musicians, friends of mine that I've been fortunate enough to just different people I've been able to meet, throughout my career and
Yeah.
have friendships with. So yep. So it's gonna be a minute yet before we can release it, but basically I'm sitting on a handful of songs written by me and Scooter,
Nice.
and I got a lot of big name guest appearances. So I wanted to get as many guest musicians on it as possible. Just try to draw as much a name association as possible.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to create sort of a super album of sorts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of been my focus on the last for the last year now.
Now, if I were going to recommend someone to go check it out, what would be the best channel to check out? Your YouTube channel or any kind of like bands on Spotify, etc.
Yeah, yeah. So every once in blue moon, I still post on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely go check it out. You can just literally just type Ethan York onto YouTube and you'll find me, or York Drummer. I got a professional Facebook page that people can go follow. Again, if you just type Ethan York, it'll be one of the first things that show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
For
all
the most part, that's
all the usual stuff.
Yeah, just all the basic stuff that
Yeah.
people can find. Yeah, yeah, nothing too crazy out there.
Well, Ethan, it was a real pleasure to have you on. I know there's a lot more to your story, and I'm kind of real curious to see what the future holds, especially with this album you're talking about. And I look forward to having you on the show again to hear more about it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so once again, check out Ethan's YouTube, his Facebook page. It looks like it's an easy search, Ethan York. Once again, Ethan, we'll talk soon, and thank you.
Yeah, have a good one, man.